Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the Unacademy show. Join it fast as soon as it's possible, then we will start the discussion, guys. Today we are going to discuss some of the amazing MCQs based on the static economy. That is going to be very important for all of the students. Static economy. Join it guys fast. Voice is 100% clear to all of the students. Do let me know about this one. Yeah, voice is 100% clear. Let's move ahead, guys. This is my profile, and these are some of the basic batches as of now. They are currently going on. What is the difference between the free classes, guys, and plus classes? You can easily notice it over here. If any of the students just want to get the subscription, go and get it by just applying the GK live code, right? And see, there are a lot of features with a lot of benefits which are associated with the plus courses. Every fourth session there is doubt clearing session, and in these kind of session, guys, you can ask any kind of doubt, right? So any kind of doubt can be asked by any of the student. Very important for all of the students, right? So this is official Telegram channel. You should join it to get the regular updates and notifications related to classes. And these are some of the fee plans for all of the students. Students should go for the longer duration plan because the exam process it takes a bit long time to get it completed. And after being clicked any of the plan, guys, if you'll be applying to GK Live code, you'll be getting immediately 10% off. Very important for all of the students. Go and get the subscription by just applying the GK Live code. You'll be getting 10% off. Very important for all of the students. Let's move ahead, guys, and let's start the discussion for today's test. Is monetary policy committee. It's the first question for today. Monetary policy committee. It's the first question for today. Let's see to set up the target for the inflation in India. Fast guys, answer it. Monetary policy committee. Very important for all of the students, guys. Join it fast. Read the statement carefully, guys, and then answer it. MPC. Monetary Policy Committee. Answer it fast, guys. So, alright, let's start the discussion of this particular question. See, Monetary Policy Committee, guys, that has been actually set up by the government of India to decide the key policy rates. Key policy rates. It means all kind of rates like repo rate, reverse repo rate, CRR, SLR, MSF, and bank rate. Right? These are some of the specific kind of rates they can easily control the money supply. Monetary policy, it means, guys, by this particular policy, by switching this particular policy, government can easily control the money supply in the economy. Money supply. So this is that's why it is called as monetary policy committee. Very important for all of the students to understand it. See, it seeks to set targets of the inflation in India. See, targets of the inflation in India, that was inflation that is actually set up under the inflation targeting. Try to remember about it. They are actually set up under inflation targeting. And what is inflation targeting, guys? 4 plus minus 2%, and statutory backing has been provided under the RBI Act to this particular policy. But Monetary Policy Committee that does not set up, or it does not seek to set any kind of inflation target in India. Inflation targeting, it is entirely a different kind of policy, right? So the first statement has been eliminated. Right now, see, this is go to the second question. Governor of the RBI is the ex-officio chairman of the committee, right? This is right, very much right kind of a statement. Governor of the RBI, it is the ex-officio chairman of this particular committee. A has been eliminated, A becomes wrong, and second statement is right. So, sorry guys, so B becomes the correct answer. So, very, very important for all of the students to understand this particular question. So, what is the correct answer to this particular question, guys? B. Let's move ahead to the next question. Effective revenue deficit. Very important for all of the students, guys. Effective revenue deficit and fiscal deficit, how they are interconnected, and why 14th Finance Commission that has actually recommended. I don't understand it, guys. 14th Finance Commission that had already been recommended to the government that effective revenue deficit, this kind of concept, as soon as it's possible, scrap it, right? So what were some kind of discrepancies in it, and why it was suggested to eliminate or remove this type of concept in the government system or in the deficits of the government? We will also discuss about it. So what is effective revenue deficit? First try to solve it, try to understand it. Answer it fast. Effective revenue deficit. Answer it fast, guys. Answer it fast. Very important for all of the students to answer these kind of questions. Revenue deficit minus interest payment. Revenue deficit minus the grants of the creation of capital assets. Revenue deficit minus expenditure on the salaries and pensions. And sorry guys, revenue deficit minus the external grants which they are received, which they are actually received by the government of India. So it is expected that you should be knowing to these kind of things, that external grants are basically included in the revenue deficits of the internal one or not. This is also very important kind of thing. Try to understand it. Read the question carefully and then answer it. Answer it fast. Effective revenue deficit. Alright guys, let's start the discussion. What is effective revenue deficit? See, there are some kind of loans. Basically, effective revenue deficit means revenue deficit minus some kind of loans. They are specifically given by the central government to the central government to the state governments, central government to the state governments for this specific purpose. And that particular purpose it is binding in nature for the state governments to accept it that they will only be used. Those all funds will only be used for the creation of the capital assets like infrastructure means like metro, railway, right? So specifically for the creation of the the capital assets, the loans which are basically granted by the government of India to the state governments, and this is something so called effective revenue deficit, right? Revenue deficit minus the capital asset loan that is given by the central government for the creation of capital assets. B becomes the correct answer, right? Let's move ahead to the next question. SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. Very important kind of question, guys. Mark a star on this particular question. Read the question carefully. Can be maintained in the cash gold or in the government securities. Reserves are kept with the bank, not with the RBI. So which of the given statement is correct in this regard? Try to answer it. Very good morning. Voice is 100% clear to all of the students. My voice is clear. Voice is 100% clear to all of. Yeah. Alright guys, let's start the discussion of this particular question. See, in case of the SLR guys, what is SLR? Statutory liquidity ratio. It means, let's say banks are having the capital, right? So for that particular capital guys, any kind of reserve that is needed to be kept by the banks, right? And so that will provide that will definitely be providing this safety, right? Which kind of safety and security will be provided by this particular reserve? Because it is indirectly backing to the assets of the bank, right? So this is the perfect reason SLR means some kind of reserve that is being decided by the RBI. How much reserve? It is decided by the RBI, right? So some amount of the reserve that is basically maintained by each and every commercial bank, which is actively operational under the operationalization in the country like India, and The major difference between the CRR and SLR is the CRR it is to be kept to the RBI as per daily basis, and SLR it should be kept to the commercial banks itself. It means banks actually need to maintain this stabilizer on their own, right? So this is the major difference between CRR and SLR. And what is the limit? How much reserve that is to be kept, that is to be maintained? It is basically decided by RBI, right? And it can be kept in the case gold or in the government securities. This is very much right kind of statement. SLR, both of the statements are correct. C becomes the correct answer, right? C becomes the correct answer. Getting my point? Is there any kind of doubt to any of the student? Guys, very logical kind of question. In the money and banking, from the topic of money and banking, these kind of questions can be asked that SLR can be maintained in which type of way or form. Let's move ahead to the next question. National financial base year. Base year for the GDP calculation, guys, it is very important, right? You might have heard about the base effect, and you also heard about the base year, right? So base effect it's a different type of thing, and the impact of the base year it generally used to be in the different type of concept or logic, right? But the base year is entirely different type of thing. The term base year in relation to the GDP it actually refers to. Again, I would like to say to each and every student, guys, these kind of questions can directly be asked in the exam. Some terms which they are mentioned in the economic survey are really important, right? So the term based questions can directly be asked, and there is 100% certainty in this one, guys, that term based questions will definitely be asked. One two questions based on the terms. Yes, very good morning. C. Answer it fast, guys. All right, let's start the discussion, guys. What is base year? See, for the calculation of the real GDP, right? For the calculation of the real GDP, try to understand it, guys. Try to understand this concept that if we just want to calculate the real GDP, it means, guys, GDP at the constant market prices. So when we can calculate the constant market prices, when we are comparing any of the given year prices to any of the base year, then it can be stated that the prices are being calculated on constant market one. So it is really important, highly important for all of the students to understand it that if we are comparing any of the given year price to any of the base year, right? So then we will definitely be getting the real GDP, right? Getting my point? Let's move ahead to the next question. Revenue receipts of the government of India. Very important kind of question, guys. Mark a star on this question. Everyone knows that there are two types of assets which are being written in the government budget. One is revenue receipts and another one is capital receipts. So which of them are basically forming the part or consisting the part of revenue receipts of the government? And what is the actual purpose of revenue receipts and what is the purpose of capital receipts? You actually need to understand it. Try to eliminate the options. By just elimination, you'll tend to get the answer correctly. See, whenever you see the multiple kind of statements, guys, their elimination method basically helps to the students. So try to apply that, and also try to apply the common sense and logic in these kind of questions. You may tend to forget. You may have forgotten some kind of the things related to the revenue receipts or which they are forming the part of it, right? But the thing is, if you'll go with the elimination method, definitely you'll get the answer. Answer it fast. Important question, guys. Revenue receipts of the government. Again, review your answers. I would like to say to all of the students that please go through the question, go through the statements or options which they are mentioned in the question very carefully, right? In the economy, by a single word, if you can make the whole question wrong if you are not reading the question carefully. So it is really recommended to all of the students to go through to read the question very carefully. Whatever statement, whatever term that has been mentioned, let's say tax revenue, right? So try to understand it. That tax revenue either it is consisting the part of revenue receipts or not. Alright guys, let's start the discussion of this particular question. See, what all things are basically forming the part of revenue receipts. In case of the revenue receipts, guys, government need not to sell. Please try to understand it. There are two kind of things. One is tax receipts, and the another one is non-tax receipts. Non-tax receipts, it means interest and dividends, which they are actually received by the government of India. So tax receipts, obviously, this is very much obvious kind of a statement, guys. It is actually it's an integral part of the revenue receipts. So first statement will definitely be right. So B option has been eliminated. Now C. Everyone knows that guys, recoveries of the loans, that this is actually an integral part of the capital receipts of the government of India. Capital receipts. So option number third, this is actually a part of the capital receipts of the government, not the revenue receipts. The capital receipts, it means guys, the loan recoveries of the loans, disinvestment, recovery of the loans, market borrowings, and another one it means PF deposits and all, right? So recovery of loans, it is forming the part of capital assets. So the third option has been eliminated. By just eliminating the third option, guys, directly you can reach to the answer, that is A, right? A becomes the correct answer to this particular question. Very, very, very important. Make sure that you are just answering to these all questions with utmost sincerity, right? There is a high possibility that very same kind of question, which of them are forming with which is the part of the revenue receipt, which is actually the part of capital receipts, directly can be asked, right? Let's move ahead to the next question. Which one will be included in the Indian GDP? A very conceptual kind of question, guys, very logical kind of question. That means if we are calculating the GDP of India, what all things will be added to it? Added to it. Answer it fast, guys. Very important for all of the students to answer to these all questions. Which of them, and very logical kind of question, which of them will be included in the GDP of India, not in the US? Question is asking about the India GDP, contribution in the India GDP, right? So try to derive the answer from the given statements. So what is the basic concept of the GDP, basic logic of it, and what are the things which can be included in the GDP of India, right? Mark a star on this question. Very logical, highly important kind of question. So to start the discussion, so like this, let's start the discussion of this particular question. What can be the correct answer in this regard? See, the very basic concept of the GDP, it means, guys, all kind of final goods. Try to understand the concept. Try to understand the logic behind the GDP. All value of Value of all final goods and services produced in the geographical and political boundaries of any of the given nation. It means as of now we are talking in the context of India. So value of all final goods and services. That is not the condition, guys. Either they are produced by the foreign entity which they are having active operations in India, right? Let's say under the FDI, if any of the company has been set up by the foreign entities in India under the FDI norms, that will also be calculated under in the GDP of India itself because it has been produced in the territories of India. So this is very much always kind of a statement that profit earned by the German company operating in India, right? And the C salary of a citizen of India working in the United States. So this particular salary will be included in the GNP of India because net factor income in the factor income, the Indians which are working abroad, that salary will also be calculated in the GNP, not in the GDP. So try to understand it. So the first option has been directly eliminated. So first A and D has been eliminated. Now we are just left with two options. Profit earned by an Indian company operating in the Japan, that is not making any kind of sense. There is no such concept in the GDP that uh, if any of the Indian company that is having active operations in the territories of the Japan and having the production right in the Japan itself, so why it should be calculated? I earlier told you that value of all goods and services produced in the geographical and political boundaries of India only, not in any another jurisdiction. So third option has been eliminated. Now we are just left with one option. B becomes a correct answer to this one, right? So these are some of the very logical kind of questions, guys, directly can be asked in the prelims. Getting my point? Let's move ahead to the next question. Currency convertibility market star on this question. As of now, there is huge uproar in the Indian economy that currency convertibility, either it is to be provided to the foreign operations, foreign companies, personals or not. And what is the currency convertibility? What is the basic concept of it? Right? So you need to understand that. Currency convertibility. A lot of students have also heard about it. So we will discuss currency convertibility, what exactly it is, and either 100% convertibility it is there on the current account or capital account. And if government is not providing the full currency convertibility on any of the given account, let's say current account or capital account, why? There are some probable kind of reasons. Due to those all reasons, RBI is not permitting the full currency convertibility on that account, right? Answer it fast. What is currency convertibility? First read the question carefully, then think about it, then answer it. And with the help of elimination, you can get the answer more easily. Answer it fast, guys. Currency convertibility. Alright guys, let's start the discussion of this question. See, in case of the guys balance of payment, there are two types. Majorly, there are three accounts. So one is current account, the another one is capital account, and the third one is operational reserve account, right? So as of now, we are just dealing with the current account and capital account. So in case of India, guys, try to understand this particular one. As of now, we have actually allowed full currency convertibility. What is the currency convertibility? It means, guys, market determined exchange rate. It means there should not be any kind of interference of RBI or the central bank in the determination of exchange rate. Exchange rate, right? So our currency convertibility, it is 100% there on the current account, not on the capital account, because government of India is really suspicious in the suspicious kind of condition that if we will be allowing 100% uh, capital account convertibility, there can be too much of the asset outflow, right? Because in the capital account, asset and liability related flows, they are generally mentioned. So this is really very important kind of statement that capital account convertibility, it is not 100% there. Current account convertibility, it is 100% there, right? Full current account convertibility, it is there. It means Indian rupee or foreign currency can easily be 100% convertible on the transactions which they can be mentioned or which they are related to the current account itself, right? So very much important kind of statement guys, mark a star on this one. And in case of the capital, partial convertibility has been provided, right? So again, I would like to repeat the statement that in case of the capital account, guys, partial convertibility on the transactions under the capital account has been provided, not the full convertibility, right? Right? All of the students are able to understand it. So the second statement is wrong, first is right, E becomes the correct answer, right? Getting my point, let's move ahead to the next question. National Investment Fund. National Investment Fund. National Investment Fund. Read the question carefully, think about it, and then answer it. What exactly it is. Answer it fast, please. Fast, please answer it. All right, guys. All right, guys. Let's start the discussion. See, the National Investment Fund has been set up by the Government of India in the year of 2005 to deposit all kind of proceeds which are received by Government of India through disinvestment. Right? It means the clear intent of the Government of India to set up this fund to have a separate kind of fund that can basically deal with the proceeds of the disinvestment. Right? So the second statement is 100% right, but it is not 100% right that non-lapsable fund and it can only be used for the long-term infrastructure kind of funding, right? Government of India it is having the sole authority to decide that in which of the activities or in which of the things the fund can be this stable fund can be used, right? So the first statement is wrong, second statement is right. B becomes a correct answer, right? Make sure that you are getting my point. Let's move ahead to the next question. One particular kind of a statement has been given related to subsidies. You need to figure out it is related to which kind of subsidy. Answer it fast, guys. Answer it fast, guys. Very important kind of question. Let's start the discussion of this particular question, guys. Fast answer it. See, the categories of the subsidies are highly important. Can be asked directly in the actual exam. You need to be very aware about these kind of statements, right? So, the domestic subsidies and support measure, guys, which they are actually trade distortive in nature, right? Very important. Mark star on this one. Trade distortive kind of subsidies, guys. So, amber box subsidies are basically considered as the trade distortive. Blue box subsidies are being provided to control, to limit the production, right? So if it means if any kind of negative impact that has been done to the trade, so how to compensate that, how to decrease it down, right? So for that particular purpose, blue box subsidies are there. Green box, it means they are not having any kind of negative environmental impact, right? So D has been eliminated, C has been eliminated, A becomes a correct answer to this question. Let's move ahead to the next question. Answer it fast, guys. If the inflation in the country A that is actually higher as compared to the country B, so which of the given statement can be correct? Remain stick to the basic concept of the inflation. You'll definitely get the answer. Answer it fast. Quite an important kind of question, guys. Sorry. If inflation in the country A is higher than in the country B, which of the thing it is most likely to happen? Read the question and answer it, guys, fast. Answer it fast, guys. Inflation in the country A is higher than the country B. Which of them is most likely to happen? Alright, guys, let's start the discussion of this particular question. See, the question it is stating that inflation. Try to understand it. Inflation in the given country, inflation in the country A is higher than inflation in the country B. It means, guys, goods and services. It means it means the goods and services in the country A, the price of the goods and services will definitely be higher than the country B. So it means the demand of the costlier goods in the international trade. Everyone knows that it's a basic rule of the international trade, guys. The demand of the costlier goods it used to be less than the cheaper goods. So inflation in the country A is higher. It means the goods and services belong to country A will be more costlier, and the goods and services of country B will be more and more cheaper. So the demand of the country B's goods even in the country A will be higher, because the inflation it means the price will not be higher, right? So this is the most important kind of reason why the export of the country B will be increasing in the country A, because even the residents of the country A will be preferring food like they are most likely to prefer the goods of the country B, because they are more and more cheaper as compared to the country A's goods and services, right? So B actually becomes the correct answer. I hope all of the students have got the point. There should not be any kind of doubt in this regard. Let's move ahead to the next question, last question for today. RRBs, regional rural banks. RRBs, regional rural banks. Quite a very important kind of question. Answer it fast, guys. Very important for all of the students to answer it. Regional rural banks. The largest share of its equity it is held by the state governments. How elimination can help to the students in getting the right answer, I'll be telling by using this question, guys. So let's start the discussion. Right, guys? See, RRBs, try to understand it, guys. RRBs, regional rural banks, RRBs, the basic idea behind the setup of RRBs, it is uh, to disperse more and more agricultural credit to the rural areas or marginalized section of the societies, guys, because directly and indirectly approximately 53% of the population they are involved in the agriculture. So agriculture should be agriculture credit flow should be basically sustained. That should not be decreased over the time, right? So largest share it is not being held by the state governments. If the central government would have been written over here, the statement would have been right. So the first statement is definitely wrong. By just eliminating the first option directly, you can reach to the answer, that is C. And some more additional statements, guys. Since last 5 years, guys, the steadily increment in the disbursement of agriculture credit. This kind of pattern has been noticed. Make sure that you are just remembering to it. The question can directly be asked related to it, right? So I hope all of the students got the point. Is there any kind of doubt? C becomes a correct answer. So for today, guys, we will also be having one more session right at 3. And if any of the students just want to join that particular session as well, so you can join it. In that particular session, we will be discussing amazing MCQs of the static economy. They can be asked in the actual exam, right? So you need to be very well aware about those all MCQs, right? So guys, let's end up the session for today. I hope you like the session. Make sure that you like it, and if any of the students just want to get the subscription, guys, go and get it by just applying the GK live code. You'll be getting 10% off, right? Again, guys, I would like to say go and get the subscription by just applying the GK live code. You'll be getting 10% off. Very important for all of the students. And let's end the session, right? Again, guys, thank you for attending the class. Have a nice day.